So at times it can seem like when our life is restless or turbulent, or our emotions or our mind or body are feeling a lot of dynamic or dramatic things, it can seem like we need to get to the yoga mat to get moving, right? To kind of get the yayas out and move big and dynamic. And that certainly has value. But also we want to know how to sort of disarm an anxious nervous system within a few moments' time. Let's say we can't get to the yoga mat. Let's say we're in the car, and that you want to do something before you pull out into traffic. You're sitting in your car, or you pulled over to the side of the road and you've got very little room to use in the space, and you can do breathing. And if we cultivate a taste for the subtle, if we create the possibility of that subtle being really captivating, we are going to have a deeper and deeper place to come back home to. In that subtlety, it's like the rest of the world becomes foggy, like when you look at a certain photograph and it's really close up to the tip of a flower and everything else looks like it had Vaseline on it. So for a time, we get to just have that really intimate attention that is our home base to come back to the present moment. So even when you feel like everything is like escalating or falling apart and you want to get on your mat and do something really dynamic, we actually could benefit from learning how to disarm that sooner and very effectively and efficiently. Okay, welcome for practice. So today we're going to start seated and we'll do a little bit of pranayama and then move into a physical asana practice. So please take a comfortable seat and find your way. You're welcome to close your eyes. Lengthen your spine. Drop down into your hips and your pelvis. And then really simply welcome yourself to be here, however you are showing up. Whatever the events of the day have been, whatever the events of the week have been, let yourself arrive here. We know that mindfulness is now a household word, and it's understood to be a very powerful practice, more powerful when we practice it consistently. And so as you're arriving, just bring some mindful attention to the place where the air is coming and going at the tip of the nose. Now, you don't have to change anything about the experience, only to notice that there's a very subtle sensation there. And sometimes it'll feel so subtle that your mind, if it's very dynamic or very distracted or very rajasic, it'll feel like it doesn't want to land there at the tip of the nose. So invite your mind to slow down and to be intrigued by the sensations. You could picture it like a laser kind of attention. Not a floodlight, but a gentle, like laser focus on just this one area in the body. As you bring your mind into that focus, know that you're generating a neurological and neurotransmitter benefit for your system. And likewise, it's also the case that when we're in our hither and thither mind and our escalating and plummeting mind, we're generating a less helpful neuro-chemical neurotransmitter experience for ourselves. So do your best. You're not oppressing any thoughts. You're not trying to suppress emotions, only to kind of move through all of that in this like laser attention to notice the tip of the nose as the air is coming and going. Sometimes simultaneously, you'll be kind of battling with your mind for where to place your attention, particularly if there's been mental, emotional, or physical distress. And it can seem like those dynamic experiences are going to keep pulling you away. You just gently return, and once more, return your attention. Now let's see if we could generate the kind of neurological biochemical state where that attention is more easeful. And if we can, it'll feel less like you're forcing it and more like it comes to you. So let's do this. We're going to do 10 strong breath cycles, a brisk inhale through the nose, a brisk exhale through the nose, 10 times in, out, in, out. And then we'll inhale and hold, and we'll exhale and let go. Okay, so like this. Now inhale to hold. And then exhale through the nose and slowly release, release, release the breath while then deeply relaxing your mind. Bring your laser-like attention to the tip of the nose. And let's try that again. 10 strong breath cycles. Inhale to hold. And exhale to release slowly, slowly, releasing the exhale. Don't make it too forceful at the end of the exhale. Come into a deep state of relaxation as you let that go. So you're shifting the O2, CO2 balance in your body, and it can help to cause the mind to feel like it drops into a kind of stillness. So now we're going to make the aperture of the breath smaller. You can bring your right hand up and use the thumb to close the right nostril. And on the left side, we'll do 10 strong breaths. And then again, we'll hold and we'll release. So closing only the right nostril. Now inhale left side of the nose up to holding. And exhale slowly through the left nostril. Release your right hand to your lap. And let the laser of the mind come to the tip of the nose. And see if there's any possibility of mental chatter quieting down. Now we'll do the right nostril. This will be our last round. So bring the right hand up again. Put the thumb and the ring finger at the ready, and the other two fingers go into the center of the palm. Okay, so 10 strong breaths, strong inhale, strong exhale through the nose. Notice that you have to use the diaphragm rather than just the abdominal muscles to make the breath, because we've made the opening much smaller. Now inhale to hold. And exhale, blow out through the right nostril. And then lower your right hand back to your lap. And notice again if your mind is willing to drop in. You may even feel that your breath is very subtle right now. That would be okay. Okay, and then bring the right hand up for the last breathing practice. We're going to inhale left nostril only, exhale right, and then inhale right and exhale left. Let's do that about 4 times. So that'll be actually 8 breath cycles. So close the right nostril gently, and at your own pace, begin with your inhale on the left side and switch the nostrils after each inhalation, staying on the same nostril after exhalation. So switch after the inhale. Notice if your breathing might be longer or smoother than it is at other times. And just stay with the focus of a smooth and silky breath cycle. And remind yourself that you are right now creating a positive neurochemical, neurotransmitter experience for your body and your brain. When you finish the next exhale on the left side, go ahead and relax your right hand back down to your lap. And see if your mind again can play that kind of laser attention at the tip of the nose. So we're really leaving everything else out for now and letting the mind just know the kind of simplicity of the present moment. And you're welcome to open your eyes as you're ready to, and bring your attention back into the Zoom room. So at times it can seem like when our life is restless or turbulent, or our emotions or our mind or body are feeling a lot of dynamic or dramatic things, it can seem like we need to get to the yoga mat to get moving, right? To kind of get the yayas out and move big and dynamic. And that certainly has value. But also we want to know how to sort of disarm an anxious nervous system within a few moments' time. Let's say we can't get to the yoga mat. Let's say we're in the car, and that you want to do something before you pull out into traffic. You're sitting in your car, or you pulled over to the side of the road and you've got very little room to use in the space, and you can do breathing. And if we cultivate a taste for the subtle, if we create the possibility of that subtle being really captivating, we are going to have a deeper and deeper place to come back home to. In that subtlety, it's like the rest of the world becomes foggy, like when you look at a certain photograph and it's really close up to the tip of a flower and everything else looks like it had Vaseline on it. So for a time, we get to just have that really intimate attention that is our home base to come back to the present moment. So even when you feel like everything is like escalating or falling apart and you want to get on your mat and do something really dynamic, we actually could benefit from learning how to disarm that sooner and very effectively and efficiently. So now let's take a look at when we do pranayama to open the lungs, to have the experience where the diaphragm comes back to be your primary breathing muscle, which is what it's intended to be. So please lie on your stomach. As you lie on your stomach, it's okay to put padding down if you would prefer to do that. Like I'm going to put a blanket on my mat here. Lie down so that you have your elbows on the floor like you're in Sphinx pose. It's like you're going to be at a slumber party. And as you come down, place the elbows either closer or farther based on your comfort level. It should feel to you like the elbows can be directly under the shoulders or slightly forward. And there's a gentle curve to the spine. And also it ought to feel that the legs are grounded. So press down with the tops of your feet, press down with your kneecaps and your thighs, and then lift the crown of your skull and slightly lift your chin. Now notice where the breath goes in your body, like what happens with the inhalation if you make an effort to draw the breath down into your abdomen. And where do you exhale from? Can you find that at the base of the abdomen as well? And remind yourself again, you're creating a very positive neurotransmitter, neurochemical experience for your body. We're going to walk the elbows forward and place the index finger behind the ear. Put your thumbs and the thumb pad around the hinge of your jaw. Lift the base of your skull and keep the chin somewhat open, but lift the base of the skull so your neck has a feeling of space. And notice now when you breathe in and when you breathe out, where is the breath geographically? And what is your body's capacity for an inhalation or an exhalation? You might even feel like yawning because your body is having a recalibration here for your diaphragm, your lungs, the O2, CO2. Let's do one more full breath cycle, noticing where the inhale expands in your body and also where you tone the abdomen during your exhale. And keeping the base of your skull lifted, walk your hands back until they're under your shoulders. Bow your forehead towards the floor. Roll your shoulders up and back towards the ceiling. Let's take a deep breath in. And then exhale, press down to rise up to table pose. And in table pose, then walk your right hand well forward of your left hand. Reach your hips back. So this is called one-arm puppy dog pose. As you reach your hips back, they're not going to make it to your heels. We're not going that far back. So stretch your right arm out in front and lengthen your right side waist. Let's relax the weight of the head. And see if you can sense the depth to which your breathing can go. And by depth, I mean where geographically. I don't mean depth like quantity of inhale, but can you sense the breath maybe touching inside the right hip joint or down in the right lower abdomen? Perhaps expanding the right lower back or your right side waist. And then inhale and press up to table pose. And take the left hand well forward of your right. Walk your hips back, just so they're vertical to your knees. Relax the weight of your head. And as you press down into your left palm and your right elbow, stretch your left hip back and notice where your breath is moving within you. And then press into your right hand and let's inhale, return to table pose. Okay, now from table pose, place your hips and heels together in child's pose. Walk your hands out in front so they're going to be active. If it's comfortable for your head to reach the floor, go ahead and relax your head down. If that's not comfortable, please place a pillow, a blanket, or a block under your head. And then press into your fingerprints and lift the centers of your palms and the heels of your hands. Picture that the arms are like itsy bitsy spider. We're stretching the upper back, the rib cage, the intercostal muscles, and giving your lungs a chance to receive the inhalation. And then please walk your hands back towards your knees, press down and rise up to kneeling. And let's just pause to see what the breath feels like in your body. It's possible that when you totally relax your mind and your body right now, your breath is actually going to breathe you. It's going to take care of you. Okay, and let's take the blanket. If you have one on your mat, go ahead and pick that up, fold it, and set it aside. And rise up to Prasarita Padottanasana. So take a wide stance. We'll make the feet parallel and come down to a standing forward bend. Now in the standing forward bend, it's going to be what we like to say a gravity-supported exhale, because gravity supports your exhalation. So let's focus on making that exhale a little bit longer. Don't pressure yourself or cause any sense of breathlessness. But if you count your inhale length, and let's say it's 8 counts, maybe the exhale will be 10 or 11. And do that for 2 more breath cycles. You're just counting to yourself. It does not need to be perfect. See if you can make the inhale smooth and your exhale a couple counts longer. And then rise up to your fingertips in Prasarita Padottanasana. And let's just shift both hips to the right. So what's going to happen is your left hip will rise up a little bit. The right hip will lower slightly down. Keep both legs straight. And as you shift your pelvis, you may sense that the upper inner right thigh or the entire inseam of the right leg is stretching a little bit more. If you'd prefer to put your palms flat on the floor or on a couple blocks, please go ahead and do so. And let's imagine the breath is now going down the inner edge of your right leg into your right heel. We're using imagination, and eventually what you inhale makes it to the whole of the body, we hope. But of course, you don't have lungs in your leg. So this is imagination. Now, if it's comfortable to do so, when you exhale, bend your left knee, walk your hands towards your left foot, and perhaps you'll come down, as I'm doing, onto your elbows, or perhaps that's too low for base. Not everyone has the same body proportions or body capacity. So you could put blocks. You could also choose not to come down to the elbows at all. Please keep the right heel grounded so you can sense your body may be working dynamically in the legs, but your breath and your mind can stay relaxed. And then inhale, rise up to center. Bring your pelvis back to level. And then shift your right hip higher than your left. So the pelvis shifts to the right, and it might feel like your left leg just got longer than your right leg. And then bend your left knee and come down. And bend your right knee, and come down to your right. And imagine the breath traveling down the inseam of your left leg all the way to your heel. Maybe as if you were painting the breath into the muscles that are stretching the most right now. With your right leg, be sure to keep your heel grounded so your body weight is kind of back and down into your right hip. And then press into your right foot. Inhale, rise back up to center. And let's go heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in until you're standing in the pose called Uttanasana, which is a standing forward bend with the feet about hip distance apart. And when you come into this position, let the torso cascade down over your legs like a waterfall. Relax the weight of your head. And ask again if it might be possible for your exhale to just linger a little bit longer than your inhale. Leave all other thoughts aside. So you have this kind of laser-like attention. And then shift your hands to your hips. And please rise up to standing. When you come up, let your arms relax. And stand in mountain pose. Stand at ease in mountain pose. I know you can't see me entirely, but you're looking inward anyway. Notice what quality your mind has as a result of the practice so far. And then we're going to take a seat on the blanket. And of course, you can use 2 blankets if you'd like to. I somehow don't know where my second blanket went to. Oh, I think it went to the rocking chair. I have a rocking chair that's too firm. It's a really nice wood chair, but it's too firm. You come down to sit. And let's sit so that your hips and pelvis feel as supported as you need them to be. And then take your right leg out to the right. So keep the left leg in, slide your right leg out. Yeah, there we go. So with this position, when the right leg goes out, point your toes straight up, point your knee straight up as well. So sometimes people put the leg out and then it's still like tipping in, or when they come forward, they bend it and they roll it out. Let's try to keep the right leg straight, kneecap straight up, and the toes straight up. And then rotate your torso towards your right leg and walk your fingers any amount towards the right leg. We don't have to go that far. You might think this is a hamstring stretch or a calf stretch. Perhaps it will be. But I'm also very interested in your lower back and the side of your waist, like the inner body. So as you walk forward, rotate your chest and heart to your right and drop your left hip back and down. And pause in the first place where the sensations are requiring your attention. Let's not make a destination of the foot, but rather an internal destination of present moment mindfulness with yourself. Keep rotating the inner body, especially your navel and your rib cage to the right. And only if it's comfortable for you and your body agrees to it, you might walk your left fingertips a little more forward towards your right foot. In all the various positions that we do, we apply pressure to the body thoughtfully and purposely, and then we get to release that pressure. So it's like a pressuring and then depressuring or decompensating where the decompressing, where the pressure has been. And of course, all day long, we might feel like we're getting mental pressure, and it's so helpful to know how to release that mental pressure, to decompress it. You may walk a tiny bit further forward if you like, and if the left hip stays grounded and your left lower back and sideways agree to it. Let's keep rotating the torso to the right. And then breathing in. And as you exhale, walk yourself back up to sitting. And let's take the right foot in and come to notice what's happening. Your body might feel like a zigzag. That's okay. Now we'll do the other side. So keeping the right leg in, take the left leg out. And again, do your best to make your leg so the kneecap and the toes point straight up. I know you can hardly see my toes. There they are. There they are. Now notice that when I sit up on a blanket, and it's probably the case for you also, the back of the knee here won't touch the floor. You can see there's a shadow, and then there's some light that comes through. If your knees hyperextend, and being up on a blanket means that the knees are pushing down against the floor, I recommend that you roll up a part of your yoga mat or take a hand towel or even a bath towel, roll it up and put it under the knee so that you can't really hyperextend it. And let's rotate towards the left leg. And then as you come forward, again, know that you're going to be applying pressure to the body in certain ways for the purpose of then decompressing. Let's rotate the belly to the left. Turn your rib cage to your left. Walk your right fingertips forward without uprooting your right hip. So the right hip and the right lower back, they ought to maintain your attention and respect. So it's not like the left foot is a destination. As you maintain the rotation of the inner body to your left, you may start noticing maybe the inner right thigh or right lower back. You may check to see if your right sitting bone stays grounded. And if your body would like to, you can walk the right fingertips a little bit more forward, not necessary to come any deeper, only if your body really feels comfortable doing so. We do not need the neurochemistry of pressure during the yoga practice, mental pressure. So breathe in one more time. And then exhale and slide yourself back up to sitting and bring your left leg in. Basically, you're coming back to where we started our practice. Let's see what things feel like as you come back here. And now turn onto your back. Lie down with your knees bent. You can keep your blanket close by. It might be nice to have it. When you lie on your back, and watch out for hair clips. So when you lie down, go ahead and lie down with the knees bent. Place your feet to their hip distance apart. So I was saying that yoga is sometimes this process of compressing the body on purpose in certain ways and then decompressing. So let's take a look at that with a really simple yoga pose when we apply pressure and then the release of pressure. So bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then as close as your knee comes comfortably. We always work with respect for the body just as it is. So you're going to inhale. And then when you exhale, raise your head towards your right knee. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, curl up. Inhale, roll down. And exhale to roll up. When you inhale to roll down, think of going down one vertebrae at a time. And then release your right foot back to the floor. Relax your mind. And notice your body releasing the pressure. So now it's decompressing. And the right side of your body might feel different than the left side. Let's bring the left knee up, clasp your hands behind your hamstring. Breathe in. And then exhale to curl up. Inhale, glide down. Exhale, raise up. Glide down with your inhalation. Let's do it one more time. Exhale, curl up, release the breath as completely as you can. And roll down one vertebrae at a time as you inhale. And then exhale, touch your left foot back to the floor. And notice your body releasing again. Okay, now, that's a pose where you had pressure in the abdomen, but you were also closing the throat. And that was considered a forward bending or flexion pose, right? The knees and chest are coming towards each other. Now place your feet to their hip distance apart or a little bit wider. Root down through your heels, raise your tailbone, and as you come up, start to tuck your shoulders under. Lift your heart. Press firmly down with your arms, starting at the shoulders, and then the upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, and your palms. Lengthen the back of your neck. And notice the different parts of your body that right now have pressure. Some places are very dynamic, like the legs are working, but the butt should not work harder than the hamstrings. And the lower back
Should not feel compromised here. Press down actively with your shoulders to support your chest and heart to lift. See if you can find some mobility right behind your heart between the shoulder blades. And then as you exhale to lower down, start sweeping your arms wide out to a T shape. Bring the spine down kind of vertebrae by vertebrae. Untuck the shoulder blades so your arms can relax. Rotate your head side to side, releasing your neck. And then let the mind and body get really still. Notice the release of pressure or the decompressing of, let's say, even trapped pressure in your body, like mental pressure gets trapped sometimes in the physical body, and then we decompress that during yoga. Let's do that pose a second time. So press into your heels. Begin to raise your tailbone up. Lengthen your lumbar spine. Reach your hips towards your knees. And then tuck each shoulder under. As you press the upper arms down, then add your forearms and your palms, making your shoulders stronger in terms of how they root down. They should have more responsibility than your hands do. As you lift your heart, try to access some mobility and support right between the shoulder blades. And breathe in and out through the nose. And this time, as you roll down, start raising your arms up and lower the spine down like one vertebrae at a time, like you're really massaging your spine against the floor. And as you come down, then take both arms overhead. You can kind of drop them overhead like you're just lounging around, having a suntan. And notice where your breath goes when you let go of the effort of the pose. Where does your body want to have this sort of silky inhale and the smooth exhale? Now let's bring the arms down because it's actually better for Shavasana. Get your wrinkles out of your clothing if you have such issues. And then take the blanket that you had before and place it from your hips down to your feet. The purpose of this is that we're in this seasonal shift right now, the seasonal arc between Pitta dosha and Vata dosha. So sometimes that Pitta gets really activated and leans towards frustration or irritation or aggravation. And then Vata is like floating about in the ethers, walking in circles, not getting anything done. So putting a blanket here is to give a kind of grounding, to tell your mind and your body to rest, to be more grounded, to cool off the fire, as it were. And then tuck the shoulder blades under, and let's turn the palms face down. You may close your eyes, relax the hinge of your jaw, your tongue, your throat. And bring your mind down to notice the delicate sensation where the backs of your heels touch the ground. This may feel like a boring sensation or a very sort of commonplace sensation, not very frilly or decorated, but it's a simple sensation and a place to park the mind. So your thinking mind has a place to land. As you rest your mind at the back of your heels, Don't even narrate the experience to yourself. Just give your thinking mind a place to be at home. Allow the breath to relax and the mind directing nothing, judging nothing, narrating nothing. Simply being at ease right there in the sensations at the back of your heels. Allow your mind to rest. All the activities of the day way out on the margins. Present moment. Coming back home. You're gifting yourself with a very important neurochemical, neurotransmitter, very powerful physiological experience. But don't let the mind wander away. From moment to moment, just right there at home at the back of the heels. nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to undo, nothing to want, and nothing missing. Allow your body and your mind to really deeply rest right now. Attention at the back of the heels, not because it's so fascinating, but because it's very simple. Now begin to roll your head side to side, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and then bend one knee at a time. And without rushing, roll to your side. And bring yourself up to sitting. Make a little blanket to sit on. Turn to the seat where you began, whatever your comfortable seat is. And rest your hands in your lap. And notice now if your mind has the capacity to be at the delicate sensation at the tip of the nose. Let it be fascinating enough, simple enough, that your mind is not immediately pulled into all the myriad chores of daily life. And then please raise your hands to your heart. Thank you very much for being here today. Namaste.
And so whenever we conclude a practice like this, we want to take in the really positive efforts that we made to be here and the positive body memory of feeling perhaps more connected. And also today, remind yourself that you're creating a positive neurochemical neurotransmitter experience. And at the same time, we are not dipping our mental paintbrush in the other neurotransmitter neurochemical experience. So it's like a double benefit because you're not mired in the other, you're here in this. Thank you once again. Please leave questions below the video if you're watching this on YouTube, and also great if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel or click like for any of the videos. That does help us. And I want to keep providing content for everybody who's out there since I'm here without a yoga studio anymore. So yes, thank you everyone.